Good morning. This is May 16th, 2015. Back here in New York City in my student Sifu Mundy's school in Manhattan. Last time I was here 6 months ago in November, I had a back spasm, as you guys may recall. I really wasn't 100%. I'm doing fine right now. And I got to talk a little bit about May 16th because it is exactly 40 years to the day that I started Wing Chun Kung Fu. My first class I ever attended was on May 16, 1975, right in Brooklyn, with Sifu Moyat in the Wing Chun, V-I-N-G-T-S-U-N Wing Chun. He also trained with Yip Man, and then he moved to school here to Manhattan in Chinatown. 4 years later, I was with him for 8 years. God's honest truth, what I'm about to tell you, exactly 8 years to the day after I started with him, on May 16, 1983, I had a very spontaneous, unplanned argument with him. I walked out, never went back. I trained with him for 8 years to the day. What the argument was about Grandmaster William Chun's system of Wing Chun. Let's see, so that was May of 83. In November of 1982, there was this big article, Inside Kung Fu, where Chun was on the front cover, all about him and the traditional system of Wing Chun. And then immediately followed, Black Belt magazine had 3 articles in a row, 3 months in a row, about Wing Chun and about traditional Wing Chun. So I'm looking at all this incredible footwork and these pictures and this whole ideas about the central line, and I'm saying, wow, this is incredible stuff. By that point in time, I was an assistant instructor in Moyat School, and I was actually teaching some of William Chun's stuff right in the school, and that's what the argument was about, because it was just such great footwork that was lacking, you know, and the whole idea about the central line and so forth. So I've been Grandmaster William Chun's student since August of 1983, so that means we're almost 32 years ago. And so I'm doing Wing Chun for 40 years. In 2002, 13 years ago, I started doing catch-as-catch-can wrestling. 10 years ago, boxing. Last time I was here in November, as you guys recall, it was about how to mix catch wrestling, catch-as-catch-can wrestling with traditional Wing Chun. Today is about how to mix boxing with traditional Wing Chun. Okay? And I'm going to start out explaining all of this by talking about the central line that Grandmaster Chun likes to talk about. So in all of the forms, as you know, you start with this, right? And you come down into this position. Now at this moment, this defines what he refers to as the central line. So, if I move my arms to my left without moving any shoulders, not doing anything like this, the moment I get to the point where one arm starts to extend longer than the other, I stop. And that's the left side of my central line. If I go this way, right around here is where I'm going to stop. That's the right side. So this is my central line, here to here. And you want to conduct the fight in this box, so to speak, right? In other words, you want to be able to use 2 hands simultaneously to the same distance at all times without even having to turn a shoulder. So if I fought like this wouldn't reach out there unless I had to turn my shoulder. But if I'm at a 45-degree angle here, then it would reach. This is not going to reach. This it will. So that's why we fight in traditional Wing Chun with this stance, this stance, this stance. So the center line is over here, the main center line, but I'm still within the central line area all the time. I don't even have to turn a shoulder. So there's a lot of simultaneous attack and defense. That's the whole idea behind it, right? Block and strike, block and strike, lock and strike, and so forth, right? Gun sound strike. Don't even have to turn the shoulder. Now, if you think about it, I got to be very close to someone in order to do that. Okay? Keep that in mind, because we're going to come back to that. I want to talk also about the weapons that we use in traditional Wing Chun to attack. So this is our basic weapon right there. Here, right? And of course you have the kicks. sometimes, so it's mainly straight line striking, okay? The kicking, we use roundhouse kicks and we use front kicks in traditional Wing Chun. But it's mainly straight line striking like this without leaning like that, like a boxer might. So, for example, Ki is in a position, a fighting position. If I want to hit Ki with a Wing Chun punch, and I don't want to do something like this to go outside of my central line area, I have to be very close. See, a boxer might throw a punch like this, but this is outside the central line. But in Wing Chun, I have to be close in order to reach him. I have to be this close. This close, if you think about it. Right? To reach him with some sort of a Wing Chun strike. Right? So it's a very close range combat system. Our weapons are that. If you think about attack weapons, Michael, give me a left front stance. Or this entry technique, that's another way to attack. Right? So we're talking about this, and of course, you can attack the kicks. Right? If you think about it, that's pretty much what we do in terms of attacking something. Everything else is basically geared on defense. You know, I'm going to sidestep, I'm going to come in. I'm going to block and strike in my central line. Okay? Somewhere on this line. Now, I want to talk more about the central line. I had 2 private conversations with Grandmaster Chun through the years about the meaning of the central line. The first one was, I said, Sifu, I understand this, but it seems to me that these vertical lines that run down your shoulders that define the edges of your central line are very, very important. This is really what you mean by the central line, right? As opposed, in addition to just the main center line. He says, no, it's not just vertical lines. It's also horizontal lines. In other words, it's a grid in front of you that has all these lines. You have to be able to fight and reach any point on that grid. Okay? All right. So that made a lot of sense to me. But I always had this thing in my head, but the shoulder lines still have to be very important. He confirmed that theory of mine a few years later in another private conversation when he said to me, Michael, come in, give me a left front. Well, better yet, let's put your back to the camera so the camera can see what I'm going to do. So he said to me, this arm takes care of that arm, this arm takes care of this arm. So if Michael throws the punch here, it's this arm that's going to deal with it. Right? Right? Make it straight, round, right? This arm's going to deal with it. Make it low, right? This arm's going to deal with it. That hand comes, that arm's going to, you can put it there. Right there, come on. That arm's going to deal with it. Okay? That arm's going to deal with it. This arm takes care of this, whether I'm in a cross position or a parallel leg position. Either way. Now, that doesn't mean that your other arm would never be used. Come here, Dean. Give me a left front. I would love to be able to get this arm on the outside of that one, wouldn't I? From either cross or parallel, right? That gives me that 2-on-1 advantage that we like to talk about in traditional Wing Chun, that blind side. We're always talking about getting to the blind side. It's harder for him to use his weapons that are coming from back there, right? If I'm over here, for a brief moment, those weapons are hard for him to be able to get to me with. And blind in the sense that you might not even be able to see what I'm doing over here, right? So yeah, we'd love to be able to do not this arm against your right arm, but this arm against your right arm if we can make it. That's not so easy to do if you're up against a good fighter, to get to his blind side, to get to the outside of whatever arm came at you. That's not easy to do. So you need to be able to fight in both the cross and the parallel position. Come here, Michael. Parallel position, as I said, is this parallel arm, parallel leg, coming in on this side, whether he's out here or wherever. I'm in parallel. I would love to be able to get out there. If I'm in cross, the same thing. I would love to be able to get out there. Or if he throws me a rear cross, I would love to be able to get to the outside of that one. Right? Not always going to work that way. Keep that in mind. So, these lines, in my opinion, became extremely important, these shoulder lines. Down through the years, the more I thought about it, the more I trained and sparred with people like my students and other folks. Because everything Michael is going to do, if you think about it, he's going to try to hit me, kick me, knee me, elbow me, grab me. It's coming from either this line somewhere or that line. So even if he throws a spinning back kick with that leg, all right, so it may not be coming on this line, but it's still going to come over here on this line. So these lines are extremely important. Of course I understand I got to protect the middle, but I want to own the geography in here. Just like when we do chi-sao, right? So there's this one. I want to own the area on the inside if I'm coming in there. That's main center line, right? Because that controls the shortest line between us. I want to own here, right? Or here, or here, or there. I want to own it, right? I want to occupy it, I want to dominate it. It's the same thing if we're fighting from out here, whether we're throwing kicks or punches. I want to control these lines. I want to control these lines right there. See? He's going to strike me or kick me with something, right? I want to be able to control the line. Control the line. In that case, I sidestep. Let him go by, come in on a different line. Right? So, extremely important to remember that. The shoulder lines. Vertical lines. You want to own that territory. You're fighting with someone. Okay? The same way you want to own it when you get close and you square up your center line. And you're going to work in there. Right? You want to own that line. The main center line. So, in other words, in traditional Wing Chun with its central line principles of blocking anywhere on this grid, or hitting anywhere on this grid, and the footwork that goes with it, okay, it gets the point about taking those lines, dominating the lines, letting go by on that line, you come on this line. In addition to just coming straight in, like you would see. A lot of Wing Chun people do, and we'll do it too, when we feel we have the opportunity, right? So here, okay, I'm going to come straight in. Because I put this out, I came around, I came in this side. Okay, so now he's getting it. So now don't be sorry. Good. Now he's got it. His main center line. He's dominating that line. You had to be close to do that. From out here, I got to worry about all these areas. We can talk all we want about the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I do this and he hooks around it with a longer range punch than this because, as they explain, I'm not extending my elbow in Wing Chun, my shoulder. But Michael might decide to do this. And especially since he's slightly taller than me, longer arms, who's got to stay up first? He does. Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm this close and he tries it, for sure I'm going to hit him first. And back here, not so sure. And sometimes, no, you'll hit me first. Which brings me to my next point. Mixing boxing with traditional Wing Chun means giving you more weapons and more defense. It's not contradicting Wing Chun, it's complementing and adding to your weapons as an attack and defense, especially since everything I'm going to do in boxing does not violate any of the most essential Wing Chun principles. So, for example, come here, Keen. If I want to fight from back here with Keen, I don't want to just stand like this. As I've just explained, I want to be able to control these lines. I don't want this to be my only attack, along with the entry technique and kicking. I'm going to expand this way. But if you notice the way I'm doing this, it's not that far away from here, is what I'm doing. And you could make the argument that I am within the Wing Chun parameters. You look at Bong Sao, Tang Sao, you look at this area here, I want to cover that area. What am I covering? Covering the central line. So I'll be this way. Okay? Or from cross position, I'll be this way. Like this. Right? Cross, right? This way. Right? Or this way. In parallel position. Okay? As opposed to this. Once I do this, I'm giving myself an opportunity to have more weapons. from here, if you think about it, this is my only weapon along with trying to play defense. Meaning, I'm going to use my arms to counter something you do. I don't want to wait for you to do something. I want to attack. I want to attack. See? So, Wing Chun is traditionally the whole idea of its defense. Fight like a woman. Assume he's bigger and stronger than you. So you're in this position because you're maximizing lateral movement to get out of the way. Some big bull charging you, right? Get out of the way, and then come in and hit with short range punches. The idea is these are not really knockout punches because there's not that much body behind it, but if you hit somebody 4 or 5 times, that's good, right? That's the whole idea behind Wing Chun. Okay, I want to expand on that. I want to add to your arsenal, not just short range, long range. Boxing also has short range stuff, okay? I mean, you know, you can throw a tight hook, you can go this way, once you get in close here, right? As well as long range here, or like that. Okay? Once you get in close in boxing, you know, you can throw, you can throw boom, make it tight, okay? But it also has longer range. Here, as well as tight hook, uppercut, wide hook, overhand, right? Along with the kicks, you now have longer range material to work with, okay? So, here, okay? Longer range, here. Okay, so now I'm in Wing Chun range. Back here again, I'm in boxing or end kicking range, right? Here. So there, you see how I threw that? I threw that. It's not a Wing Chun punch. But here's what I mean by I'm not violating Wing Chun principles. You see how I threw it? See where this is? Okay. I have this one covered. I got that one covered. I'm not just going like this. I got that. Right? Here. I throw this, I want to make sure, I'm not so sure I would throw this to that side of his body because of that. I don't have that line covered. Put this down for a second, I would throw it in here somewhere. Get it? Now this arm is against that arm, I'm controlling that line. Right? Controlling this line, controlling that line. When I come around, I'm still controlling both lines. Right? So you got hit on the fourth one. Why? He's playing defense. Okay? He's not quite backing up the way Mike did. Mike was kicking at a different distance. But it's the same idea. Both were playing defense against what I was doing. Which is okay. Except that the best offense, the best defense is offense. I want to give you more weapons. See what I mean? Okay, you can turn that off for a second. Any questions so far?